All right, hello everyone, welcome back. This is for the new Buzz Lightyear movie, Lightyear. Now, with the Buzz Lightyear spaceship, when they modeled the space, like the box that you got your Buzz Lightyear in,
Mhm.
would you say that was similar to his spaceship if you look at it as a box more?
Like
No.
hit
Or
the
was
end,
it,
the spaceship at the end.
I was gonna say, or was it in model of the Onion? Is that what they called it?
I think they said
kinda-
armadillo, but I'm not 100% sure.
No, the Onion is the giant spaceship that they all arrived in, that he crashed in the beginning of the movie.
All right,
I think it was
have
the
no idea.
spaceship at the end.
That would
yeah.
probably closely resemble. That would probably be the closest resemble to that,
Okay, that's the only
because that's about the only thing that actually resembles it.
yeah, that's the only other thing that I was kind of looking for in this movie, since that's somewhat of a big like side piece to Buzz Lightyear is his spaceship. So
However, it's weird that Buzz calls it his ship in Toy Story when it never was his ship in this. Okay,
well, no, it was technically given to him. That was his ship because he's the only one that piloted it.
not really.
I mean, yeah, the government owns the ship, but it is his ship.
I mean, maybe by the end of the movie.
It was only in the movie once.
I mean, they had different models. Are you talking because they had the test models that he was
There-
flying in the beginning of the movie, and then they had
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
that
what I'm
up,
saying.
like
That would
they
be
had
more so
Mark
his ship.
II. Yeah, they had at the end of the movie. I feel like that was like Mark II because all the ones that you would see throughout the movie were Mark I's, and I feel like those were made specifically for him to test flight for the hyperspeed or light speed, whatever it was. I say I enjoyed the evolution, I suppose, of the suit from the
Mhm.
beginning of the movie to the end of the movie, where he gets the laser. He's like, oh, this is a cool idea, adds it to the final model of the suit at the end of the movie. And then the wings, I was wondering when the wings would come in, didn't really expect it to be the ejecting system of the ship. That caught me a little off guard, but it was funny in a weird way.
Liked it.
Did it still didn't make sense,
No,
but I guess it at the same time it does make sense since they're in space and they need to, if they eject and they need to get somewhere, if there's anything close by, I suppose that makes sense. I'm not really sure if that would be logical or not in space, but
I mean,
would think so.
if you're ejecting with a jetpack, then couldn't you have
Yeah,
just
I feel
ejected without the ship in the first place?
I feel like there's a possibility,
And that would have been
things could
pointless
go
for him to do all that math
drastically
on it.
wrong. I mean, yeah, actually, well,
That just makes that pointless
that's actually a fair point.
because they've already got multiple ships.
Yeah, but
So
he's
why would
Buzz
why
Lightyear.
would he need to do
And
all that
that's-
math
I
if he
don't know.
knows there's already more ships back there for him to use?
I will say I enjoyed that part mostly because you get to see just how smart Buzz Lightyear is.
Well,
in
yeah,
just a
that's the
few
only time you
seconds.
actually get to see him actually be smart.
No, I feel like he was pretty smart throughout this movie. He was just kind of, I don't want to say dragged down, but I'll say dragged down by the other three characters.
Well,
They were
he-
kind of holding back his full
Yeah.
potential because he had to watch over them as well.
He never felt like Buzz in this movie.
The only times he did feel like Buzz was in the beginning of the movie in the fight with Zurg.
And that was because of the memories of that you would have of the first two films, Toy Story 1 and 2.
It's because those are the only times you get to see him as the Space Ranger.
And they also didn't explain the Space Ranger stuff either.
What
They
do you
didn't say
know?
it was like a
It's-
giant
it's a
core. They
galactic-
just said, "Oh, we're going to start a new Space Ranger. We're going to restart the Space Ranger." So were you
Okay.
like were you two the only ones left in the core, or how exactly did that work?
Well, no, it explains it. I forget what movie or what it explains it in. Space Rangers go with people who are trying to find new planets to colonize to protect them, and they also will go off in teams to fight off people who are trying to like invade planets. So he was on this mission tasked with helping people find a new planet to colonize. That was their mission.
That sounds stupid.
Okay, in this one, I'm gonna have to ask in what aspect is that stupid? The aspect that they're trying to find a new planet to colonize?
Well, that's all a Space Ranger does.
Well, I mean, colonizing a new planet is extremely dangerous. They have to go out and make sure that it's safe, which you saw in the beginning of the movie. Second, their job is
They're Rangers.
it's intergalactic peace.
No.
So
Yeah, that's kind of what
Yeah.
they do.
I mean, I don't know how else to explain it to you because that's
Okay,
their job.
but what I'm saying is, if that's all they do, because there's never shown anything else as to what they do, that seems boring.
Going and finding new planets and discovering new planets to
No,
possibly inhabit.
if that's all you do is just drag people and take them to new planets, that sounds boring to me.
Well, that's one part of the job. The second part is if someone is invading a planet, you send the Rangers to fight off the invaders.
I'm just saying
They
it's
are
never
known as the
explained.
strongest. They're known as the strongest task force in the
And they chose
galaxy.
the three most inexperienced people to. Oh, that's so
I will
stupid.
say no, that is a fair point, but that was mostly just to drive like the stories, to evolve the story's plot, to kind of bring it all together. So like I understand why they did it, but I do agree he did choose the three least experienced. Like I can see how he can use. I can't remember her first name, Hawthorne, and that's all I remember. What is her first name? Elena?
I wouldn't even say use her.
I mean, she was the only one with potential out of the three of them, in my opinion, to become a ranger.
Yeah, but she needed
But
way
she
more
still
training,
has-
and putting her in the thick of the
That-
fire,
that's what I
it
was
didn't
gonna
really
say.
help much either.
She still needs a lot of more training in general, just basic training. But then again, he did say that he had no previous training before he signed up to be a ranger. So I guess he saw potential in her. Second off, I wouldn't choose an old woman with a criminal record of stealing a ship to become a space ranger. That's just me personally.
Well, also that, and correct me if I'm wrong, aren't they already in like warrior gear when he first meets him?
Mhm.
Yeah,
And yet
they
they're all
explained that-
inexperienced?
Yeah,
They explained
because,
that.
well, yeah, they explained that in the movie when he asked them why couldn't you fight off a robot, pretty much, and they explained that they're the misfits of the military. She's there because
It was like JROTC,
yeah,
what they were part of. And they just happened to be outside of the laser shield when it went down.
What a coincidence.
honestly,
There
no,
weren't any other soldiers that were out there? Just those three misfits?
yeah,
No other
100%,
soldiers.
yes.
No other soldiers with experience.
Well,
You put the junior
okay,
experienced people
I
out
feel
there
like-
with a criminal.
I feel like, oh well, that's a fair point.
I'm very
But-
confused as to how they're out there with nobody that's out that has way more experience than they're giving him.
Usually there would be a head commander to that. I don't know if the idea was the robot to be the one in charge.
Well, no, the robot has error all across the board. They make even fun of it when he goes, error, I'll restart, error, I restart, error, I restart.
Look,
Like the joke
I
was
don't
going to
know.
hit the fifth time.
I don't know. That one, I mean, is honestly just a coincidence because usually you would have someone in high command to guide these individuals and make sure they don't step out of line, since there is a convict with them as well. But that wouldn't have helped them with their plot to help Buzz Lightyear have more chances to ask for help. Because
I mean, it would have if he was part of a
the
good
one
team.
thing is, because they released a Buzz Lightyear movie back in 2001, I think it was.
That was a better representation of Buzz.
Well, the thing I was going to ask is that movie, which I'm going to say probably not.
I
but
think it's a
in
show.
the
Buzz
idea
Lightyear Star
of-
Command.
In the
It's both.
they
It has a movie
released
and then it goes
movie
to
and
a
then
show.
It became a show. I would think that movie would take place after, or that whole series, if it was in chronological order, like they said this movie what kind of was meant to be, that movie would have taken place after.
That doesn't make any sense. He gets a whole new crew. He has a
They're
partner
not
in that movie
related.
that he
They're
ends up.
not. They're not canonically related.
I know they're not
They
related.
can't be.
I'm just saying that if it was, that's the order it would have gone in, I would think. Unless it's the other way around and that was supposed to kind of show, but we don't know.
This feels more like a knockoff reboot of the show.
I never watched the show. I just watched the movie because I've heard the show wasn't really that good. I think it only
I
had
watched the
one,
movie.
maybe
That's the
two
only thing I
seasons,
watched, and I'd like to watch the show at
so
some
I
point
don't know on that one.
because I'd like to compare it with the garbage we just got. But I've watched the movie, so I can easily compare it. I can easily compare that, and that is a way better representation of him having an inept crew and him not wanting a partner. It's all the same thing.
It is, but at least I can't even say. The only one experienced in that crew from the 2001 TV show or movie was, I forget the princess.
The blue
I can't
girl
think
with
of
the
her
red
name.
hair. Yes.
The princess.
Yep.
And that's it. That's the only one that had any training. All
Yeah,
of the
because what was
people
the other one? A
had
janitor, and the
almost
other guy was and the other little guy was a robot.
made by the janitor. Oh no,
No, made by the
little
green
people.
aliens from Pizza Planet.
Yeah, those ones. I see now why this movie is currently one of the worst movies in the box office.
Oh yeah,
I don't know. I haven't looked up and compared which one's better, Morbius or Buzz Lightyear's.
I would say
But-
Morbius because they didn't trash the audience the whole way through when the movie was getting introduced.
I don't know because I haven't looked up the comparison between those two. I just know that
I would say Morbius just based on guess, just because Chris Evans was trashing people for like calling people bigots if they didn't go watch this movie. I think all the countries in the Middle East weren't showing this movie. So he basically called all Muslims bigots. So that was fun. China, I don't think is going to show this movie, considering that the lesbian thing is such a big part of this film. They're not going to show it. So
it wasn't. I mean, I thought we went over that it wasn't really a big part of this film.
It was like
It's-
didn't even have a
it's-
minute screen time.
it's a big enough part of her moving on. And that's a big part that he has to understand later. So it's a small snippet, but it's part of him seeing her move on.
Okay, I see where you're getting, and I can agree with like that aspect, but at the same time, the lesbian part isn't focal point of the overall thing that you're talking
No,
about.
I'm not saying it is. What I'm saying is that bit is still an important part of showing her moving on with her life when Buzz is off doing the missions in hyperspace.
I will say before we finish this, I thought that her son would have become the
Burnside?
next commander.
Yeah, that would have been good to see.
That's what I thought was gonna happen. I was kind of hoping for it, and it didn't. And I will say I got disappointed and depressed at that point too.
Yeah, that would have been interesting to see because it would have been somebody Buzz saw grow up, but had no idea who he was, like on a
Right.
personal level.
I personally have to go now. I have something at 10.
Okay.
I will see y'all.
You are a sad, strange little man, and you have my pity. Farewell.
My internet's fixed.
There weren't even aliens in this thing.
I mean, there were aliens.
No,
the
not
tentacle
alien,
ones.
not intelligent alien life. Bugs do not count. We have bugs here. I don't consider them aliens.
There were no intelligent aliens at all. And then the conversation of him saying that most people accept it, I'm like, no, if anything,
Most people don't care. I will say this. Most people don't care what you do in your bedroom. It's when you push it out in the open and say that's
Yeah,
normal. That's when
which
people
was-
have a problem with it, especially when you
which
do it
was-
in front of kids' movies.
yeah, which
and when
was
you're
what
pushing
I
it in
was
kids'
saying when
movies.
which was what I was saying when I said I'm not against it. I just don't like seeing it forced upon me.
Yeah, I know.
Like
I heard that and I was like,
I know quite a few people that are, and they're great people, and they don't even like it like this. They're like, no, you're trying to change and force. The
you're
world to
forcing something
accept
into a
us,"
movie
and
that
they're like,
doesn't need to happen. Well, and then they do the whole thing about her getting pregnant in the show in this
Which I was
movie or
like,
whatever, and it's like
maybe-
that doesn't make any sense because one of these things doesn't add up here.
First off, it's only been 8 years in total. I'm like, I don't see how they would have been like, yeah, we're gonna, decide to do inseminations now. It's been 8 years. We're gonna be stuck here for a while. And I'm like, what?
I
That
got the
doesn't
whole
make
thing about the hyper time thing. However, you didn't tell him that before when you knew that was a possibility. Like, why not tell him beforehand? And I don't get it. If he's so smart, why didn't he just know that beforehand anyway? He was like,
what's
oh yeah,
terrible
hyper
is
time.
I
That's going to
have
be a factor.
Well, the next time at work, I have to tell my coworker who was really excited with this movie, tell her that this movie was trash.
Well, it depends. Is she like Andrew?
No,
Okay. If she's like you, tell her this sucks.
I feel so bad because she was so excited. I mean, I was excited. I mean, it's the first legit.
I was
Buzz
excited
Lightyear
until I
movie.
saw what they were doing. And then I was like, why?
And I'll be
You've already
honest,
got
I
the
was
Star
hoping-
Command here. You already
I
got
was
Star
hoping
Command.
for-
If this is not a
I was-
continuation or a somewhat better rendition of that, then what's the point of making it?
I was,
And it
I
was essentially just a copy and paste of Star Command because it had
no, in a way, to me, I wanted him going through Ranger School or something to that extent. I thought that would have been.
that would have been a good one. Where it's like an intro into the Star Command thing. That would have been a good one because that would have been
And
a good
maybe-
movie.
because you can
and
do-
then that
you
would
can
have been
do
the next
2
movie.
movies with it, if anything. 2 movies. Him going into Star Command, then Zurg appearing at the end with a big fight, and then the next movie is him fighting Zurg. There you go. 2
Yeah,
movies
and you
for
could
you,
still make
Disney.
it be his
You
father.
ruined it.
That'd be interesting too. You could
And
still
they
make Zurg be
ruined
his father. That would have been very interesting. There's a
Like,
reason
there
why
was-
it was so interesting in Empire Strikes Back and why it's such a good trope nowadays because it's a good storytelling device.
I mean, and the thing is, with Buzz Lightyear, you could have done that because we don't know much about Buzz Lightyear and Star Command, or the Rangers, or anything really.
Yeah, there's no other Rangers except for him, the intern, the lesbian lady, and then there's apparently some other guy. I think it's that short little guy that has the goatee. I think he's
Awesome.
another Ranger because it is a short person
Yeah.
that has the other Ranger suit because it apparently fits them all perfectly. That's so stupid. Like that is of all the coincidences that are coincidences, having all the suits fit the other people that come in line perfectly. Why the frick?
It would have been funny if one of them was like, I feel like I'm a little too small or a little too big for this, and then you could see like the armor like stretched out to try to fit.
Yeah, that would have been funny and interesting. And then to have him go, oh, it can auto change. Like that'd be cool. That'd be interesting to see. But no, they just gloss over it and say, wow, all these fit. Exactly. This movie is so dumb. When I say this, and I say this with a sad heart, Pixar has gone downhill ever since they fired the head guy from Pixar. And they essentially sold out to Disney because I'm pretty sure I know why that they went ahead with those rape charges or whatever.
Well,
And this is my conspiracy.
If you notice, when he disappeared, Disney immediately bought them out. So he was against Disney.
No, yeah, he wanted to go ahead and once the movie contract thing was up, he was going to leave. I'm pretty sure Pixar was going to leave from Disney and start doing their own thing because Disney was hurting them creatively. And I think he knew that. However, Disney knew that this was a cash cow that they could not let go because everything else is sucking. Star Wars, Marvel, all of it's starting to suck really, really bad because of all this woke stuff. And I don't care what Andrew says. They have this thing called a not at all secret gay agenda, and it's shown in this movie as it's a kids movie. This is so stupid of a thing because they've already opposed a bill in Florida, which essentially just says don't teach kids sex from K3 to 3rd grade. Just don't teach it. Don't talk about it at all.
Yeah.
And that's by the way under the assumption of don't say gay bill, which has nothing to do with the bill at all. So it's just stupid.
I don't know for that one.
So-
I really don't. It's all just disappointing. This whole movie was disappointing. I will say
The only
that
reason why I'm
because
upset
that's
is
not-
because they pull out this bull crap and ruin your childhood just that way they can put their political agenda forward, which they did in Star Wars, they've done in Marvel, now doing in this franchise.
Which I will 100% say the lesbian thing was a driving factor of my rating going down. Yes, but it wasn't the biggest one. The biggest
No.
one was this wasn't a Pixar film. It did not have the same feel as the Toy Story film. This was supposed to be what Buzz Lightyear, the toy, was based off of, and it
Yeah.
was felt completely different at times.
This wasn't even the same character from the toy. And you would expect the toy thought he was actually Buzz Lightyear.
Well, the thing is, everything.
That's the
that
thing. The
character-
toy thought he
everything-
was Buzz Lightyear.
Yes. So, and I was like, you wanted to buy a toy off of this, but the toy looks and acts completely different. The armor for it is at the end of the movie. So why
Yeah.
wouldn't you build a toy with the basic armor, not the armor at the end of the movie?
And why would that be the only toy that you would see in Al's Toy Barn when that whole Space Ranger lineup's there? You would think there'd be variations.
That's why I was like, oh, do a cadet movie. You can have others, but have him the focal point. Or do a movie where he's going solo against Star Command sent him to do an infiltration mission to find Zurg, blah blah blah, and just have a solo Buzz Lightyear movie. You could do it like that. And it was like, nope. And I'm like, all right. They had so much potential with it, and they dropped the ball.
Not only did they drop the ball, it's so messed up because what they ended up doing was they ended up copying from different stuff and making a trashy product.
Yeah. No, I do agree.
They copied from Star Command. They copied stuff from Toy Story that wouldn't have made it into this film because it
Toy
wasn't
Story
even
1 and
necessary. Chris Evans didn't even sound like Tim Allen. Didn't even try. I don't care if it's a different character. That's the stupidest reason ever. Toys, when they're made.
Enjoyed it. Hold on. I would have enjoyed it if they did it like this. If they were going to do it as, oh, this is young Buzz Lightyear, so he needs to sound younger. And you had Tim Allen as old Buzz Lightyear. As
They didn't even do
as
that.
The voice of, I would have been like, okay, I could have seen that, and I would have been okay with that in a way.
That was the biggest middle finger to the fans ever.
But they didn't, and I was like,
Oh.
all right. Because they even made reference in the movie when he's like, Dad, is that you?
Yeah,
And he's
they
like,
do that
"No,
deliberately.
actually, and I'm like, nope, actually, I'm you. And I'm like,
Do that deliberately so that way you get that memory of Toy Story 2.
yeah, they toy with
There's
the
no other
movie
reason for it to
and
be in there.
They completely destroy the movie because they have a second second Buzz Lightyear action figure with the gravity belt.
Yeah,
And
which
I'm
was
like-
based off the video game.
Which the video game would have been based off of the movie. So unless it's a continuation of like, instead of doing a second movie, they do a video game to like continue the story.
Honestly, it seems more like a solo mission from Star Command, but
It
I
could be.
digress.
I don't know. And I'm like, that I just don't get it. I just don't get it, and I'm disappointed. And
If anything, they could have titled it one of his lost missions during when he was working alone. During that point of view of Star Command, where he was working alone trying to find
especially
Zurg.
since-
And so it's
especially
just-
since he narrates to himself all the time. He like gets lost. They find him.
He
You
stops
have to
narrating
find
through the
records
movie and
of-
only does it when it's funny. He doesn't
Mhm.
ever do it like when it's not like funny, where it actually could be somewhat story involvement. He just
The
does it
first-
when
the
it's funny.
The first 5 minutes of this movie were good, in my opinion. I was like, this feels like a potential Buzz Lightyear movie. It's funny, it's action, and then they destroy the movie within the next 10 minutes.
I mean, even then, it wasn't the greatest because it was just like, that doesn't seem like Buzz. It seemed more like he'd try to find the cadet first and not be irritable about the cadet getting lost. I get it. You'd be mad, but I think he'd go after the cadet first and try to find the cadet first instead of running away and then realizing, oh yeah, the cadet is still out of the ship. Like that didn't seem like a Buzz thing to me.
I mean, first off, Buzz hates working with people.
I
because
know, but
always
he
has
would
to
still
save
look
them,
after
because-
them.
No, because he has to save them, and he knows he will 100% risk his life and risk the mission's success
Yeah.
to save an ally.
Yeah, but it wasn't until it was a crappy moment in which for him to go back and try to find him that he was like, where's the rookie? And also we didn't get to see how the rookie got out of the trap to go all the way over there towards the ship where they were fighting it doesn't explain squat a lot of times. A lot of it's just pure
What happened to
coincidence.
the
Like
rookie?
it's a coincidence that they're
What-
there.
did-
The junior
did the
cadets are
rookie
there.
Die? Did the rookie die? Did he go missing? Like, what happened?
I'm assuming the rookie did the same thing that Alicia did, or whatever her name is, Hawthorne, or whatever her name is. I really don't care. The tokenized lesbian girl. That's essentially what it is. The tokenized lesbian ranger. That's essentially.
And the biggest part was when she's like, "Oh, I'm engaged," and Buzz is like, "Oh, congratulations." He doesn't ask who is he. He immediately asks, "Who is she?"
Yeah.
And he doesn't correct her. She doesn't. And I'm like, first off, that's your first mistake. I understand you're friends, but that you immediately go into, oh, yeah, I already knew. It's just base knowledge. All women are lesbian.
That's all. We got time to talk about this for today. If you'd like to hear more of us, if you'd like to hear us
Yeah.
talk more about it, leave a comment or like this video, leave a comment down below. Thank you everybody for watching this episode of Galactic Reviews. Join us next time. We'll be watching the movie Elvis. Yeah. So see you next time on Galactic Reviews.